All right, welcome in, welcome back. We are back live on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. How is everybody doing on this fine Monday night? Uh, just figured get some of the particulars out of the way. If you can do us the biggest favor, hit the like and subscribe button, and turn on the bell notifications. That helps you stay up to date with what we got going on. As the thumbnail says, Hugh Freeze out at um, Auburn University. Just some food for thought there. Some people were, I hate to say it, but some people were not totally bought in on what was going on there. I think it's fascinating. Also, the phone line is open. You have no wait. Number to call 260-255-4069 is the number to call. Appreciate everybody out there. So I guess we can, kind of dive in and look at this for what exactly it was. A lot of things, a lot of moving parts, in my opinion. Also, the kickoff of college basketball is on tonight. Um, one of those deals that we have going. So I think that that's fascinating in itself. Oh, gonna mute that. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Some people were jumping for joy, other people were down in the dumps. I get all parties involved. Nobody wants to be a part of a firing when it comes to this whole coaching thing. And I totally understand it. There was some things that Tommy Tuberville said via CBS Sports. I think I got those comments. He said, if you don't have a quarterback, you're a dead man. And I think that's a true statement. That is a very true statement when it comes to some of the stuff that was out there. I don't think that Hugh had I'm not going to say he had a fighting chance when it came to what was going on down there, but I also don't think that it was not sustainable. I think that a lot of it had to do with not having a quarterback, and I think everybody knew that. Hold on one second. Yeah, we're getting some things around here. I'm trying to do that. Also, the phone line is open. If you want to call, there is no wait right now. I'm going to leave this open for a little bit of an extended period tonight. Also, we got there's some other things, but I think this is big news. I think that it's a tough situation, and now you've joined the fray in the, how do I want to say it, the coaching carousel world. LSU's open, Penn State's open, Florida's open. What's up, Joe? I think it's fascinating that you have all of these jobs open now. I don't I don't know if it's where's the buck going to stop, because I think a couple other people are going to get fired at the end of it before the season's over. Also, you're going to have a ton of movement in the group of 5. You're going to have a ton of things. There's so many moving parts to this. I don't think that it is good necessarily. Um and I think for all intents and purposes nobody wants to fire their coach. You really want it to win, or you really want to win. But I get it. The Auburn fan base is restless as hell because you have Alabama over there winning at a high rate. Um, you have Alabama winning at a high rate, and also nobody is also blind to the fact of what Kirk Cignetti's done at Indiana. I think that is. All right, we'll get that done. Should be good for a while, but yeah, that's kind of it's kind of a crapshoot at this point. I look at it and say, okay, Auburn, you move on from Hugh Freeze. Who are you going to hire? I'm hearing a lot of Jimbo stuff. Um, I don't know if Jimbo is the answer, but the phone line is open. Number to call 260-255-4069. It's um, also on the ticker below. For some reason, the iPad didn't ring, but if you called, go ahead and call back. See if it's. I don't know why it didn't ring. Let me check it here. Oh. Hold on one sec. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm trying to get the phone line up. Hold on, let me see what's going on here. I think it's something in the settings. Let me see now. See if it'll ring through. Hold on, this is a disaster. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna call you, Joe, and see if it'll work.
Hi, this is Ross. I'm not available to take your call right now.
Well, I can call out, but it's not letting me call. It's not letting me receive calls. This is bizarre. Let me see. For some reason, the iPad is lagging. It's like a minute behind. But anyway, let me see if I can call myself. Okay.
Telephone number 2.
Okay, so that works. Let me see here. Let me see. I think I might be able to fix this on the fly. Let me switch. Let me see if this will work. I know this is just. It rings and goes straight to your voicemail. I got you. Let me do this real quick. Nothing like trying to get this done on the fly. Is that what it is? Hold on, let me see here. Okay, let's go. Give me 1 second, and I think I got a fix for this. Just give me 1 second, okay, everybody? I'll be right back. All right, is everybody still with me? I think I may have fixed. All right. If you want to call, go ahead and call. Let me see if it rings. Let me test it first and see if it rings through. Okay, we're back in business. We're back in business. If you want to call, go ahead and call now. The phone line is open. It's back working. I apologize, everybody who would have thought updating an app would be that big of a deal. Phones are back working. So there is that. Got that figured out. So, but anyway, phone line's open. We're talking Hugh Freeze, and we're gonna talk some other stuff. Okay. Who do we have, caller?
The number you have called has either been disconnected or
What's going on, Joe?
How you doing?
I'm
I
doing.
think yeah, it's working now, but I think there is still a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, because of the there's like a 20-second delay between
Wow.
the podcast and YouTube, but
The live phone. Okay.
So
That's all right. I won't look at the screen to mess me up. I'll just talk on the phone.
yeah, so what are you thinking this past weekend, Joe?
Well, it was quite exciting again. This has been a pretty darn interesting college football season. I mean, just not only the games, but the coaches, carousel.
The coaching carousel has been fascinating. I think that we're going to see a lot of different things going forward. I think
you think new guys are going to get a chance to fill these big spots?
See, that was the question that I was thinking. I don't know what they're going to do because not everybody can hire John Summerall. Not everybody can, if you want to hire Brian Kelly, not everybody can hire the coach that they want.
Right.
And I think that it's a fascinating endeavor that we have going. It's I don't know where the bottom falls out on this.
I think what's his name? Franklin jumped in a little too quickly. Like with all these openings, he might have been able to get himself an even better deal. But I guess he must be happy with his buyout being what it is. Not as good as Kelly probably, but
I don't think $49 million is anything to shake a stick at.
Well, what was Kelly, like 53 or something?
Yeah, Kelly only had him by like $4.5 million, I want to say.
Yeah, so you're right. So at that level, I think Kelly just wanted to show how he's still a wanted man. Like people want him as a coach. So I think he jumped at it just to show, I'm viable.
Well, I think that where the thing with Brian Kelly is that he doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
He's 64 years old. He doesn't have to jump back into the fray, as some people would say.
Right.
Not right away, at least, but
what's funny is that Notre Dame analyst Eric Hansen, is that his name? Eric Hansen? He was saying how he could take a job as a TV personality.
Yeah, I don't know what Kelly's gonna do.
I don't think he can. I don't think he's, charming enough to be able to do a television. And where would he go? Like Fox has, what's his name? The guy that was the Ohio State head coach.
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, they've have Meyer. ESPN has Saban. So, I mean, like, who would he go to,
He could. This is just me being kind of facetious here.
Spitballing.
Spitballing. I wouldn't be shocked if NBC didn't hire him.
Yeah, interesting. That's a possibility for sure.
NBC hires him. They could hire him. They could hire. I think the SEC network will probably hire Hugh Freeze.
The thing is, NBC doesn't have that morning football show like Fox has and ESPN has. So if Kelly were to be hired, like, what would be the capacity?
I think he would just be a studio guy.
Uh-huh.
I don't know on like a broadcast or something like that. But then again, I don't know how Notre Dame would feel about seeing Brian Kelly on the studio show as well. But also, I think you're going to see movement at Michigan State.
He actually would be pretty good for them. That's a pretty good suggestion.
I think that's a realistic expectation.
Yeah. If he wanted to.
If he wanted to, because I don't think the expectation would be too high. And let's just think of it this way. If he could win 8 games a year at Michigan State with the amount of resource that they have, I think that is something that could help stabilize their program. I think their program needs stabilization because of the fallout of.
That's what I was going to say, is that they're kind of in chaos, much like Notre Dame was when he came in there. He's a good structural managerial kind of guy. He can probably fix a football team in that way without real high demands of winning, national championships, So if they can kind of correct their path, but I think he'd be a good option to do that, But in terms of, winning the Big Ten or beyond, I mean, I don't expect that from him just because of his track record. But, if he could straighten them out to where they're an alluring program again, because they used to be, like, before your time, Duke, they were as good as Michigan, like the Michigan State games and Notre Dame, Michigan State. I mean, those were crapshoots every year for a lot of years. They used to play each other.
Right.
So I don't think that would be a bad thing for him, and I think it would be a good thing for Michigan State. That's a good suggestion you bring up.
I think that's a viable option for them.
Yeah.
With everything open. I'm going to try to pull a list real quick. With everything open, Florida, I think, is set up for the most, in fact, to get their feelings hurt.
Yeah, they're not going to get Kiffin's not going to leave. At least, I can't imagine him leaving next year either. Like, unless the offer is just something insane, that he can't say no, then I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's reaping the benefits of his years put into that university.
Right. And I think he has spent so much time building it. I don't think he wants to leave.
Right. I wouldn't if I was him. I mean, do you know his salary?
Kiffin's getting paid around $10 million, and he's worth every penny of it.
Yeah, so $10 million. I mean, unless the offer came in to double it, he probably won't think about it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he moves off of it.
So now where do you go if you're Auburn? What are you looking at? Any projections?
Here's the problem with Auburn. They really, really need a name. LSU, for all intensive purposes, has made a mess of this.
But what's Auburn's financial situation? Can they pay big time to get a big time?
Oh yeah, Auburn's got big dollars to spend.
Okay.
So they got deep pockets there. The problem is that I think that your problem you have at Auburn is that you have to get the fan bases excited. And one of the things that was
About the hire, yeah.
that was pulled up is that at the end of the Kelly, aka tenure, it was that stadium at the end for the Texas A&M game was completely empty.
I know, they walked out.
So that leaves me to believe that there is, I wouldn't say growth for that much, room for growth, but they have to get something that's going to galvanize the fan base at LSU. And it doesn't help. The governor has stuck his nose in. They fired the athletic director, right, wrong, or indifferent if you think he deserved to be fired or not. But the problem you have is that if you're a sitting head coach, you have the governor of the state breathing down your neck. And
But he can't take full control. He has no jurisdiction to be able to just like take over the team as a like GM kind of guy to make things right, does he? He as a governor, it's a state school, so there are funds involved, but just how much does that give him as a bargaining chip to rule the team? I can't imagine that the university dictates, all of the people that would be on the board of whatever regions, whatever they call college level.
They got
board people.
A board of in Louisiana. I believe they call it a board of supervisors. And
okay.
I think the big thing is that they have made a mess of this so bad. I don't think it's going to even itself out for a while. If you're a newer head coach or a sitting coach that's got a comfortable spot, do you want to jump into the LSU fire? Because,
well, it depends. If you're a good coach, you can coach. I believe you can coach anywhere. So, if they get a good hire, he can turn it around in a quicker time than what is looking like for most other coaches. But if they get a guy, and I don't even think it would be like an Urban Meyer. I don't think he could turn it around that quickly. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's going to have to be really a superstar that'll make the fans happy. Number one, make that board of supervisors happy, make the governor happy. And like, is there anyone out there, maybe a head football coach in the NFL, like maybe it's going to be that kind of a need.
Well, I don't disagree. I think that word has finally kind of got out that the John Gruden stuff has really, really quieted down.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be. I don't think he'd be a fit there.
I don't.
But then again,
I think Gruden can coach.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Gruden.
He's won a Super Bowl, so I mean, like the guy isn't an idiot.
He's not dumb by any means. I think that
he's gung ho kind of guy, and that's the kind of thing kids respond to. He brings that energy of like kill. Right. I like that guy a lot. I like him.
I think that,
but is LSU the answer? No. But I think that he would have a lot of choices of where to coach if he got into the college game. Like with all these openings, he probably could attract a lot of schools.
Well, look at it this way. So UCLA I'm just playing. I know you're out there on the West Coast, but
Yeah, UCLA would be great for him.
That's what I think. I think something to where the expectation that for Gruden, it would help him to go somewhere that's not such a pressure cooker to where they're expecting a national championship in 3 years.
Right.
I think UCLA would be a good spot, but I don't know, for all intents and purposes, the shine kind of wore off the Jerry Neuheisel thing, and not that I'm saying, but I know this
I'll
is.
tell you what, he's on the same level I would put Charlie Weiss Jr. You know, like they're both pretty young and they're both very creative with their offenses. So, but the thing is, Charlie Weiss Jr. has a very good mentor in Kiffin. You know,
here's something that I'll ask you because I know the answer to this question.
Okay.
Who do you think has the highest paid coaching staff in the SEC?
Okay, let me think about these things. I would have said Saban, but he's no longer in. Let's see. Then there's Georgia, and they probably pay very well.
They do, but they're not number one.
Okay, and then LSU probably is.
They pay
pretty
well.
Similar, yeah, but not maybe not the top.
Nope. I'll give you one more guess.
Okay, so let's see. Who would be my? Oh, A&M.
I hate to say it, Joe, but you're wrong. Ole Miss.
Oh, Ole Miss. Interesting.
Pete Golding.
Well, that's pretty.
Pete Golding and Charlie Weiss Jr.
How you don't like that?
So,
okay.
So I think that is one of the determining factors on Lane Kiffin. And here's the thing with Lane. And I think the Auburn people are being funny by putting him on the quote-unquote message board hot boards for potential coaching candidates. I think the Auburn people are just trolling at that point, or at this point. I think that when it comes down to brass tacks,
more of a pipe dream,
right? I think they'll call Jimmy Sexton and say, "Hey, Jimmy, here's an offer," and he'll bring it to his client, and Lane will probably most likely say no. But here's the deal. When it comes down to it, a lot of these guys are held by 3 or 4 agencies, and I think this is where LSU made the misstep by talking about how bad the contract was for Brian Kelly. And I think that's something to be said there, that they have kind of messed this whole thing up.
Who said that though? Who actually was poo-pooing?
The governor was the governor of Louisiana was pissed about Kelly's contract because it's like because of the buyout.
So what's your point, that they're going to be a tougher fill?
Well,
because of that involvement.
The problem that you have is that if the governor tries to shut down on who you're going to hire, because they don't like guaranteed money, and an agent's job by any means is to work for the client.
Well, LSU is not going to get anybody that's not going to have a guarantee, so they can forget about that. Governor can forget that.
So here's the next thing. If you look at Kiffin's record, I want to say Lane's record. Hold on, let me pull it up. But barring the, I gotta get this at Lane Kiffin's record the last couple of years.
Well, they're going to be good.
They've been really good. He's 52-19 at Ole Miss.
Well, that's not stellar, but it's good.
52-19 with a Sugar Bowl win. Here's the kicker with this on the Lane Kiffin stuff. If Lane Kiffin goes 52-19 at LSU, you think they fire him?
If Kiffin goes 52-19 at LSU, well, you're not going to probably be able to get that record right off the bat because
Lane's worst year he had was the COVID year. He went 5-5, but that was the beginning of the transfer portal. They had just fired Matt Luke. It was a lot of moving parts his first year.
And what was his? His record at USC wasn't stellar either, and they have all the resources in the world. So, what was his record there?
His record at USC, I believe, was I want to say he was like 19-6.
Yeah. So 6-12, 18, 3-1. Yeah, that's actually not too bad because USC gets talent all the time. So, I didn't think it was that good actually. So maybe he is better than what I'm thinking for him.
He was 28-15 at USC.
Okay, that's more like it. That's not quite as good.
But here's the funny thing on how the parallels are when it comes to this. So he was 28-15 at USC, gets fired on the tarmac, goes 27-13 at FAU and lands the Ole Miss job.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective. But
well, that's interesting because it's pretty much the same record that he gave Southern Cal. It's like
but
you're winning. What does that come out to? Like 8-4 every year is your average?
Yeah. But here's the thing though. It's all about perspective in my opinion. And he's 52-19. He's only had 1 year. He's only had 2 years out of the 6 at Ole Miss where he didn't win 10 games. But he's never made it to Atlanta to play for the SEC, and he hasn't made the playoffs yet. I think if he goes 52-19 with that track record at LSU, they would fire him.
It's possible.
And see, that would be if I am his
that's
agent.
That's like 8-4 to 9-3 a couple of years or something. How many years is he? 6 at Ole Miss?
6 at Ole Miss. The last,
including this year. This is his 6th year.
Yeah, this is his 6th year. So he's on track to win 10 more. Most likely, barring a catastrophic failure, he's going to win 10 games or 11.
This year, yeah.
Yeah.
But but prior to these last couple of years, probably he's pretty much 8-4 again. So he's gotten better. Like his more recent seasons are showing that he's maturing as a head coach and kind of getting it over there. So, he could leave for the money. I mean, who knows? $10 million a year is nothing to sneeze at, and he's building it. So, he probably won't go anywhere for the next 2 years. But then again, there might be some openings that he just can't say no to, and then the money gets good after that. But I don't think he's going to go anywhere for at least 2 years. He's going to try and win it with them, at least a SEC championship.
Oh yeah, I think if you're Lane Kiffin, I don't think you leave at all. Because you get everything you want. All of your assistants that work for you are getting paid top dollar, and Ole Miss is investing in their collective. So, to me, I think some of the things when it comes to the job openings, I think when you rank them, I don't know with how much chaos is at Ole Miss and kind of the chaos at Auburn. I know the Auburn people will be upset with this, but I don't see a path forward for them, their AD came out because LSU's doing the whole we're going to have a board of people to hire the next coach. And Auburn's AD came out and said, I'm the committee or something, just something condescending like that, taking a snippet at LSU, which, I don't mind that, whatever. But the thing of it is that you have Penn State that's open. Also, Mike Gundy's out there. I think Gundy will probably end up on TV before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I don't think he's I put him in the same level as Beamer, the younger Beamer. I keep on having to make that distinction because I remember his father, very well. So the younger guy doesn't have nearly what his father had, in terms of knowing the game. And again, like I watched them this last weekend and he was making stupid mistakes again. Like he always makes stupid coaching choices. And it hurts them.
I think, well, he came out and fired his offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Blame everybody else. And then I think Kelly also, because of, what is it, special teams, he fired the guy or something, and then he got ousted. Or
well, I think when it comes down to this whole shooting match we got here, Mike Gundy's a free agent. Oklahoma State's open. Yeah. I don't know who's going to take that job. I couldn't. Maybe the guy at North Texas that's having a lot of success. Maybe. You
right.
have Florida that's open, and now Auburn. I think one of the things that I don't know, Joe, if you watch Netflix at all, but
no.
But they have that Any Given Saturday that's on Netflix, and I think it's one thing that makes it tough in the profession of coaching was the stuff with Franklin when he lost to Northwestern. That was ultimately his demise.
Right.
But it was similar with Florida and Billy Napier and how nasty the fans were to him coming off the field. And I think that's something that I think people forget, that these guys are people too. They're just like me and you. They just have a different profession.
Speaking of Florida, did you see that play against Georgia where the Florida guy caught the ball?
Yeah, and
they called it incomplete.
Yeah. That's something that I had brought up a few weeks ago, Joe, is that it's to the point to where they're going to have to do something with the officiating, because the officiating it's for all intents horrendous. And purposes, it's getting out of hand.
Yep.
And it's ruining the game experience.
Yep.
I just
no, and I find it especially these conference darlings, like has Ohio State, have you ever seen them have to battle adversity of the refs? I never see them get the majority of bad calls in their games. So I think they protect them because that's their bread and butter for their conference. Well, the Ohio States and the Michigans, when those guys go up against the Penn States or Iowas or Wisconsins or whoever, they're getting the majority of the darling calls because that's who they think is going to bring them the furthest as a conference. And I believe that to be the same thing in the SEC. I think that Alabama, Georgia, almost not quite LSU anymore because Kelly screwed them, but like those darlings of the conferences get the calls.
I don't think
yeah.
I'll cut you off here. I don't think it's per se the university itself. I think that at some points, I think that certain coaches influence calls. Now, it could be situational, but also I will throw this out there. I think that the officiating as a whole. I mean, I hate to make excuses for Auburn, but they got hosed a couple weeks in a row, like 3 weeks in a row at Oklahoma, A&M, and against Georgia.
Yeah, I think the one against Georgia where he was across the goal line and they didn't give it to him.
Yep.
Was that? Yeah, that was a bad one too. That's what got a guy fired, right? One of the referees or something.
Yeah, they permanently suspended Ken Williamson for that one. And I talked about that. And I had talked to somebody who coached in the SEC for a very long time. And he told me that whenever they would, they would do the whole, during the week, they would tell you the official assignments, like, the associate AD would give you the paper about this, the information sheet. And I don't know if they get that early or it's game day, but I think pretty much if they knew they had Ken Williamson assigned to their games, it was going to be interesting, because the main thing is he would tell me that, he told me that the majority of the time the officials or his crew wanted to be the show when it came to it.
You mean the biggest games?
Like if he was coaching in the game and they would see it was Kim Williams, they'd all just say, "Oh no, here we go."
Interesting.
Because it would be an interesting, because he would say every game that he coached, and the guy that I had talked to coached in over 300 football games at the Division I level, and said that anytime, the majority of his time, they knew what white hats would make it about the officials and not about the game.
I hate that. Yeah.
Here's where they messed up. When they started putting the officials on TV, and I partly blame the NFL for this, when they started giving the officials FaceTime on TV, like the Ed Hockley thing, and they made a big joke about it, when they started doing that, they realized, hey, we can be a show here. It's not about the game.
when they mic'd them up so that they would let the crowd and the television audience hear the call?
Yeah, because my thing is that they just can't give the sign to somebody in the booth, and the PA announcer can't be told, stop putting them on TV. That's like people that run on the field. They had a big string of it a few years ago of people, in the middle of games running on the field, and then they stopped putting them on TV, and it's dropped drastically.
Right.
So I think that, when you do certain things, you're always going
you can't be bigger than the sport itself. As a referee, your best games are the ones no one knows you.
Exactly. And
that's yeah.
It's been, in my opinion, to the point to where they have muddied the waters so bad with the officiating and every call and the review and all of that stuff.
I know. There's too many reviews. Did you see that call Notre Dame got against Boston College for rough passer?
Oh, yeah. It was unbelievable.
What a joke that was. What the hell? And of course, they called one on Notre Dame earlier. Maybe it was a makeup call, because that one time Notre Dame got the sack on him. He actually, number 47, Anya, he actually grabbed him by the back of the shirt right up near the neck. And they called it roughing or face mask, because they say he grabbed his horse collar, or the back of his helmet is what they said. And it was like they didn't. If you see it, it's obvious they didn't grab it. And even the play-by-play people were saying that was a bad call. They kept looking back. But it's still that call for Notre Dame. I mean, I don't usually, get so, but it was just a joke. I mean, that was crazy.
Well, if you think Saturday's bad with roughing the passer and all of that fun stuff there, Sunday's even worse.
Oh yeah.
I seen the unnecessary roughness that Josh Allen picked up in the Chiefs game. The guy's hand brushed his helmet, and he just falls backwards and acts like he hit him 15 yards. And I'm just like, but here's the issue. If they keep rewarding the flopping,
I think I did see that one. I was kind of dozing.
If they keep,
that's another weak call.
Right. If they keep rewarding it, it's not going to fix it.
Right. Oh no. More. You're going to try it.
And I just think that it's bizarre. But anyway, we kind of got off on the official tangent. But I'm just saying, coaches are people. They have families. The way James Franklin got booed going into the tunnel when he lost to Northwestern was rough. He had to let his family go first, and then he went.
Yeah.
But also, the Penn State fans were pissed at Saban when they had him on game day, and he comes out and says, "Well, you didn't deserve to be fired." But the only pushback I'll give on the James Franklin stuff is that he had 12 years to figure it out, and it took him the expanded playoff, and he just never got over the hump. He won a lot of football games. He beat everybody he was supposed to beat, but also you have to remember that for all intents and purposes, Ohio State in his tenure hired two Hall of Fame coaches, because Day's probably going in the Hall of Fame if he keeps winning at the rate he's at.
Yeah.
And also I see a lot of Clemson people getting restless as well. I really don't think that you're going to see.
Even Dabo's press conference, he wound up alluding to the AD as he was talking. He said, he's probably thinking about firing me now, and I don't blame him.
Right. And I don't think that here's the problem. It's all going to come to a head here in a few. 2032 is going to be the big year, essentially.
Why is that?
Wait. Because all the TV contracts are up.
All of them?
I think a vast majority of them. I think the ACC is up, and I think the Big 12 is up. I've talked about this a little bit at length, not a whole lot, but this is just my opinion on what we have going here. I don't think the Big Ten's going to. I think the Big Ten's going to take teams. I think the SEC is going to take teams. I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with certain universities in the Big 12 and in the ACC, also at the American. They're trying to position themselves to be the most attractive to the two conferences. I don't think the SEC takes anyone from the Big 12. I think Texas and Oklahoma was it. I think the teams that go to the SEC out of there, it's going to be
ACC.
Out of the ACC. I don't think they're going to take Duke. I think they'll take Virginia, and I think they'll take North Carolina.
Clemson?
Maybe, if they want to go. Because
it's been boiling down to two super. I mean, it's almost at that point now of two super conferences. When you take the best two teams out of the Big 12, which was Oklahoma and Texas, and Texas A&M, several years earlier, Texas A&M left, and then you take Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, and the Big Ten absorbs pretty much the best four teams of the pack. It's heading towards two super conferences. So it went from the Power 5 to the Power 4. It's about, by 2032, as you said, it might be the Power 2 by then.
I could see where I think the Big Ten will take Miami. I think they'll take Florida State. I think Clemson has something.
Man, doesn't that just sound ridiculously stupid?
Oh, I know.
Miami and Florida State playing in the Big Ten.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
I think
it's as stupid as getting USC and UCLA.
Right. because the Big Ten wants into the TV market.
Yeah.
And I think the Big Ten will take 4 schools. I think they'll take Duke. I don't rule out Kansas being in.
I wonder if CBS would sue these conferences for doing this, because they're virtually eliminating them or else taking any control they have over, what their advertisers will, expect to pay.
Well, see,
the less power that they have,
CBS wouldn't complain. CBS got themselves into that decision a long time ago when they decided not to pay the SEC. They've only had like 1 or 2 games in the top 3 games at all this year.
Right. But I think that if it gets to where these conferences are not aligned with CBS, and CBS has been, a flagship of college football for decades.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to make CBS, ESPN, Disney pretty much holds the cards on this deal with the
on
SEC.
Everything.
The Big Ten, the teams at the top of the Big Ten are not happy with Fox. I don't think Tony Petitti's happy with Fox.
Right.
I think they're just happy with the check. Now, when their contract comes up, I think they're going to try to strong arm TNT, because I think college football is coming to TNT. I think
they already carry some ancillary games
because
they're already doing it.
Because ESPN sub-licenses them. They give the sub-licensing fee out to them. Now, the reason why I say that, just call me crazy here, I think they're going to try to put a competitive package together for the SEC, or not the SEC, but for the Big Ten with CBS, TNT, and NBC. And I think,
and what kind of package would it be?
I think it's going to be
that would get approved.
Something to where they're going to have an equal draft, because I don't think CBS and NBC are thrilled with Fox always getting the number 1 pick. I get it. Fox is given the most money, but Fox is kind of, they're messing this up.
NBC didn't get into the game until last year with the Big Ten. So they've only had Notre Dame for years, but that's quite a jump if you're going to, and CBS getting together with NBC, that's kind of a interesting, because it's, like 2 major networks trying to work together to combat ESPN is pretty interesting.
Well, the problem you have is it's especially like right now, if you are somebody that is a YouTube TV subscriber, you can't watch ESPN.
Right. Currently, they're not, offering games. Disney's blocking them out or something.
So they can't get the contract together. All I'm saying is that you have a major, major issue as far as acquiring games through it. I don't know where the bottom's going to fall out, but ESPN Disney doesn't like to share very much.
No, but it's also, they're monopolizing everything, every sport. They need to be broken apart of what they have the authority to carry, because they are ruling sports. I mean, it's just been forever now that they have the contract for hockey, basketball, football, baseball, soccer. They have everything.
Where ESPN is getting away with it is the NFL is kind of putting a stop to it by the NFL doing what they've done by sticking with Fox and CBS. And the problem you have is that with the NFL is it runs on time. College football doesn't run on time. They don't move.
See, what they need to do is, if you're talking about aligning NBC with CBS, you have to include Fox in that just to battle ESPN. If those three came up with a lawsuit that said, look, these guys are just taking over sports of every industry, they can't, that shouldn't be allowed. I don't know all the legal lease about monopolies, but if those three major market national broadcasting companies, if they all pile up together to combat ESPN, it might be a different story,
Well, the problem you have is one of the driving factors for Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12, it wasn't necessarily over money. It was over the fact of playing your big games at noon because they were losing money.
Yeah, not having a primetime audience.
Yep, because before the Big 10 signed the deal with Fox, on the Big 12 used to be strictly on Fox, and when they would draft the games, it was either Texas or Oklahoma, whichever one was winning, and they would always play at noon. They never got a night game. That's Fox's MO. They want to dominate the noon slot, but they're not really doing that anymore because ESPN's ABC said, hey, watch this. I will about bet you that when the TV ratings come out this week, the top 3 games will all be ABC games or ESPN.
Oh yeah, I mean they have the SEC, which is the hottest commodity right now.
In
SEC,
the only thing that they can do is, as far as the Big 10 wise, is put Ohio State at noon and hope and pray. Because last year, Fox did really well with Ohio State in the noon slot. But if you look at it this year, Penn State's not, they fired James Franklin. Their season's over. So there was nothing compelling about Ohio State, Penn State. There was really nothing at all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I just, I'm trying to find it now. The TV ratings for college football, if they're out yet. I didn't think they came out until like Thursday, but
well, we know who's going to win. I mean, you're going to see Georgia getting good ratings. You're going to see Alabama, and you're going to see Ole Miss. And I think that was their lineup this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that, the TV ratings for week 9, and this was on ABC, Alabama, this is the week before. ABC dominates all 3 games, week 9. Right. Alabama, South Carolina, Texas A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Michigan State was
on Fox.
No, right. It was on NBC.
Oh, okay.
And then Vanderbilt, Missouri, and then Fox comes in. So you mean to tell me that Fox, being the flagship for the Big 10, they picked Indiana for Big Noon, and this is no slight towards Indiana or UCLA. They picked that game, and it couldn't beat Vanderbilt, Missouri.
Do they have the rights to the SEC?
Fox, no.
Then that's moot.
And I'll do you one better. CBS takes Iowa, Minnesota. It got beat by BYU, Iowa State on Fox.
I probably was one of those watching BYU, Iowa State, as opposed to the other.
So I'm just saying that Fox's advertising partners may just say, "Hey, we're not paying for that ad space. You're 4th in the ratings. You told us you'd be number 1. You would dominate the noon time slot, and you're not."
Yeah, or else it just negotiates down the costs for advertising for them.
because, in my opinion, I feel that they almost got they didn't almost get beat, but CBS almost got beat by a 10-20 start East Coast by Colorado, Utah, which that was an uncompetitive game.
Right.
Yeah, speaking of Colorado, it is tough times up there in Boulder, Joe.
Well, what's going on? We didn't talk football yet. We've been talking too much of the other side of the sport. The games were great, but now we've been on a long. You're over an hour, even though you're correcting things. But
well, that was kind of a who would think that it doesn't send you a notification on the iPad that your app needed to be updated. I guess.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, we could run down the gamut of games really quick. I don't.
All right.
I got time today, but
okay.
As we run down
it was a great weekend for college football.
Oh yeah,
a lot of great. Yeah.
I
mean that Cal. Who did Cal play? That was a good game. Oh, Virginia.
Yeah. I think that
was actually a very good game
because I got them itemized on my list in time slots. So we'll start it out with Penn State, Ohio State. No big shock there, in my opinion.
Right.
Indiana thrashes.
The only thing about that of note is that Ohio State's given up like 6 points a game, and they got 14.
Yeah. Penn State's the only team this year to put up double. Well, yeah, put up double digits or score 2 touchdowns. I don't know what Texas did. What'd they win that game? 17-7 or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that was early, right?
Yeah, that was week 1.
Yeah.
So and then Indiana, Maryland. I guess they're in order by ranked games. Florida falls to 3-5. They played Georgia really
they got
close.
Robbed. That was a very different ball game. If they got that catch, if that was ruled a catch, all of a sudden it's down at what, their 10?
Yeah.
10-yard line. I mean, that's a big swing, not getting that third down play.
Oh, yeah.
Because that didn't, they don't even get a field goal as a result, right?
No, they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So
I think Georgia's been very lucky this year. I'm not overall impressed with, and I never was. I think from you and I talking that I never believed Miami was as good as their ranking was giving. Everyone was talking about them. I just didn't. And it's coming true now. And, they might wind up 9-3 and another, unsuccessful push for them. And who's the other? Oh, Texas A&M, I think, is playing above their heads, being 8-0. They beat Notre Dame by 1 point because Notre Dame missed an extra point, and they went in a minute and a half down the field. And on the 4th and goal from the 11, they got a touchdown and made their extra point and won. So, to me, Notre Dame has been shooting themselves in this kicking game is the worst I've ever seen in the history. And I go a long way back. But it just proves that Texas A&M, I don't think they're either that or Notre Dame's really good with 2 losses. They're a really good team,
Here's where I stand on it. I think Texas A&M is good.
They're good. They're not as good as being number 1. Like Ohio State would beat them, 24-10.
I think that would be a really good game.
Yeah. I think it would be that, like 2 touchdowns. I just don't believe that Texas A&M is as good as what they're being touted. You disagree. That's okay.
We'll see, because the way I look at it I think it's hard to poke holes in the ship of an undefeated team.
Well, wait till they play in Alabama in the conference championship, and then I'll eat crow if they beat them, because I think Alabama is the cream of the crop in the SEC right now, and I think Ole Miss is just behind them. So one of those are going to get to play Texas A&M, assuming they win out. But then again, they have to play Texas, and I'm not so sure Texas is they're turning the corner at the right time of the year. They got 2 losses, and they can make good points if they were to beat A&M in the regular season. Last game, I think, of the year.
They
It just might get.
also the following week they have to go to Georgia.
I think that Georgia can win, but I wouldn't put money on it because I don't think Georgia's as strong as they've been. I think that they're really getting by on basic scraps. They're winning the games, and it's not impressive in their way they're winning. So, I think that they're good, and I think they're good enough because I think it's the overrated SEC syndrome. I just don't see quality separating themselves other than Alabama. Because of Alabama's quarterback. I like him the best of all the remaining SEC competitors, and that includes Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Georgia. So I think Alabama holds the edge there.
Where I'm at is I feel to the point I get what you're saying on that. Now, when it comes to Georgia, especially playing at home, since 2019, we've had 2 presidents, a pandemic, and they've lost 2 games at home.
So adversity is their friend.
At home. So I think I don't know what their home record is, but they had like a 34-game winning streak until Alabama snapped it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be loud. It's going to be I wouldn't be shocked if they have a blackout against Texas, and it's just going to be ruckus. It's going to be a ruckus environment. It'll be interesting to see how.
Well, who's your early favorite at that game?
I would give Georgia by a field goal.
Okay, so Texas A&M not quite as elite as you're saying.
No. Texas, not Texas A&M. Texas has to go there with 2 losses.
Oh. Okay. And Texas has to travel. Yeah. I mean, that's. I don't know. I think Texas is making the turn, and I think that Manning is starting to find his feet, and it's clicking in his head too. He hasn't been bad, but this last game he was good. And I think that, in 2 years, I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. I think he's that good. But this is definitely a year that's just like Notre Dame. Their quarterback is really good too. But this is the year they're growing into, who they are and who they're going to be. No. So I think that Texas is going to be among the top in the next 2 years in the SEC. But yeah, okay.
The get-in price for Georgia, Texas, I had to find it. The cheapest ticket on the board is $304.
Yeah, and that's that's a way. When do they play? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Also,
it'll be 600 by then.
Oh yeah,
because they'll both win this week. Yeah.
Also, I don't like to do this a lot, but I was looking at the gamut of games for that week.
Yeah.
Wisconsin has to travel to Indiana. Wisconsin,
they're going to get crushed.
They can't score. They are currently.
Yeah, it's going to be 66-14. I'll give them 2 scores because they'll have their 3rd string in by then.
And then they have Washington this week. Whenever I have a friend that was asking me, I can't remember what show I did it on, but he had me go down Wisconsin's schedule, and I picked them this year to go 3-9.
Yeah, good pick.
They're currently 2-5. They have Washington left. They have Indiana, Illinois, and Minnesota. I don't think they win a game.
They might beat Minnesota, and that'd be it. So 3-9, you'll be right on at 3-9.
And here's the other thing: there are currently in the Big Ten, because all the Big Ten people want to say the Big Ten is so elite, so elite, so elite, better than everybody else. Well, if they're better than everybody else, why is Penn State doesn't have a conference win, Wisconsin doesn't have a conference win, Michigan State doesn't have a conference win, and Purdue doesn't have a conference win? They have 4 teams
There's
in their
Maryland,
league that may not
Rutgers.
win.
What about Maryland and Rutgers? More slubs. Slubs.
So between Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue, there are 2 wins in the conference.
That's a pretty awesome conference.
I mean, the bottom of the Big Ten is to be desired. I mean, we can go over to the SEC and see what they have, but
yeah,
I mean, I hate the measuring stick that people use for this. They use bowl games. There's only one team in the SEC that doesn't have a conference win, and that's Arkansas. But South Carolina's only got 1, Auburn's only got 1, Kentucky's only got 1, and Mississippi State's only got 1.
Yeah. Now they both bloat, their conference just because of their pride. For each conference. But there's 2 and 3 teams every year that are really the cream of the crop in conferences. That's just the way it's always been, and they can put their chest out as much as they want, but the reality is, when you're talking about conference championships, which I think is a waste of time, I think everybody should be independent, and make your own schedules. But what do I know?
Well, I don't necessarily. I'm not going to say I don't disagree with you, but my thing is that why don't they just completely redo the conferences, put everybody back where they used to be, and just have a damn 24-team playoff like the FCS has been doing for almost 100 years, and just solve it. And
no buys, no buys because of conference championships. Just all 24, 1 versus 24, 2 versus 23, etc.
Exactly. It may not be the most compelling TV, but in my opinion, I've said that with the 12-team format, they need to move the season up 3 weeks. I can't get anybody to buy into that. I think they should scrap spring football because it doesn't really do anybody. It does good, but it's just not. It was mainly put in there for the fans.
I think that's for recruiting.
Right. And also, but that's back when the season was over January 5th. They played the championship game on the 20th.
I know. And it's going to go later.
Well, I think they're waiting on the NFL to get the 18-game schedule going, because here's my conspiracy theory on the NFL. The NFL is going to push their season almost to where it's a spring Super Bowl. Now, just hear me on this. They're going to add an extra week of playoff games. This is just my theory on it. They're going to add an extra week of playoff games, and they're going to push it to where the weather will be good enough to where it's not mid-February, and they're going to take the Super Bowl to every stadium in the NFL.
The thing is, the union, the players' union, has to realize that the owners are banging these guys. It's just money for them, but these players are going to have less and less length in their careers because they're playing so many games in one season. It's just going to knock out people from being able to compete at a high level, So the number of years in your NFL career, you better get paid a lot of money, because it's becoming more and more to where it's a game of who's left that we have on the roster, because guys are beating the hell out of each other and getting, just a worn body. So you're going to have less and less years as a player. So you better make what you can, because these guys that the owners don't give a crap, they'll just go to the next recruiting, the next draft, and see you later.
Well, think of it this way with the college football season. Remember the first week of spring practice or fall camp last year when Charles Jagasaw tore his pectoral and said he was done for the year.
Yeah.
He came back and played the national championship.
And then got hurt again.
But not that I'm making fun of the kid or anything, but I'm just saying that is where it's at. And then also, Joe, we didn't even talk about it. I know it's football season, but college basketball opens tonight.
Oh, yeah. Are you a big fan?
Oh, yeah.
I don't get interested until March Madness. I mean, I might watch North Carolina play Duke, but, it has to be like some good games like Kansas and whoever, And then the SEC is evolving into a powerhouse in basketball. So, to me, I don't really take much joy in watching basketball in the early season. It just doesn't do it for me, but that's okay. You can enjoy it. I used to.
The problem you have in the college basketball realm right now is that the way the scheduling is, the SEC, and I get it's the first night. Like tonight, I'm watching. I got 3 games on right now. I got Arkansas playing Southern. They're up 30. Now the most competitive game is Arizona playing Florida right now, and that's a 4-point game. And then St. John's is up by 60.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Rick
is
Pitino.
That Pitino?
Yeah, Pitino's at the Johnnies.
Yeah.
Which I know I love SEC football, but I don't think there's anything better than Big East basketball.
Yeah. I mean, Connecticut is the team that wins all the time lately, right?
Yeah, Florida won last year, but I just if it's up to me, I'll enjoy watching St. John's play Seton Hall or Villanova taking on Georgetown, even though Georgetown hasn't been good, but like Providence.
Right. I get that.
Marquette, which it's still bizarre that Marquette is in the
DePaul.
Big East. DePaul, yeah. But I think
I get that.
It's a real nice touch that St. John's did with naming the court. It's St. John's Arena at Louis Carnesecca Court, which I thought that was a nice tribute to him.
Yeah. I remember Lou. I remember Lou when he was coaching the New Jersey Nets in the ABA.
Oh, yeah, that is right. I forgot he did coach in the ABA.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's one thing, even though not to turn it into a whole full-on basketball discussion, but the Big East has tradition in basketball that I think that with Pitino being in the conference and Hurley, I think they might be able to turn it back around. You get some of the Seton Halls, Georgetown, Providence, some of those schools.
Well, he made a damn good push last year. I mean, Pitino, they were covering his team week to week, I think on ESPN, 30 for 30 possibly or something.
Yeah,
but
I think
I just watched something else. Yeah, I just watched something else on ESPN where it had talking about LSU when they had both Saban and Pitino as their coaches. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I had something, I just lost it. But the Johnnies are up 60-0 on Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Yeah, or I think I pronounced it right, but
Quinnipiac.
Yeah.
No, Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac, huh? I'm assuming that's upstate New York.
Yeah, it's one of the Indian names.
Oh, so that explains it. Now that they have it, spelled out correctly, or all the way.
Yeah.
But there's tons of universities out there that people don't know. Which I used to watch a lot of that when ESPN first came out with that ESPN Plus. They had all those MAC schools like Manhattan, Central Connecticut,
right.
All of those tiny East Coast schools.
Yeah.
Iona.
Right. Lehigh.
Yeah. What is that one? Sacred Heart.
Uh-huh.
Which there's actually, not to give somebody else some
Duquesne.
Yep. There's a do you know Sacred Heart has one of the top hockey facilities in the nation? Yeah, there's a YouTube channel that goes around. I can't think of the name of it, but they go around whenever a university builds a new facility.
Stadium. Arena, yeah.
Well, not even arenas too, but when they build like a new weight room, they go in there and they tour it and they put it on YouTube and show it. If you type in I think it's Sacred Heart hockey facility, there's a whole like 30-minute to where they go through it, and
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I
mean, who would have thought it, you know?
Yeah, who would
Sacred Heart hockey.
Yeah. They had some millionaire invested like $50 million into it. It's a really nice facility.
Yeah. I bet. $50 million.
And Florida just built their new baseball facility, which is really nice. But I will.
Well, that means they're taking away money from the football team. That might be harmful.
Well, I think it's fascinating at St. John's tonight as I'm looking at the crowd. There ain't hardly a seat to be had at St. John's. They got a small arena.
Oh, they're believers again. You know, Patino, he coached the Knicks, so they know him in New York, you know.
Oh, yeah, and then he had all those guys that got scooped up when he left Iona, which is funny because like out of the 12 guys he had, like 9 of them were in the NCAA tournament on other teams.
Wow.
Yeah, they
I wonder why they left him.
Well, it's when he took the St. John's job.
Oh, okay.
And Iona replaced him.
So he probably took some of them himself.
Yeah, he took some of them guys with him, but when Iona had to replace the coach, they hired I want to say his name was Tobin Gray, the Frederick Douglass coach.
Okay.
That beat Purdue. They hired him, and they ended up firing him last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Iona got used to winning 25 games a year for like 3 years, and they're like, what's this guy doing? I hate to say it, but he's not Rick Pitino.
Right.
Pitino's one of those interesting folks that has won everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
Everywhere in college.
Yeah. He's damn good. I mean, what are you going to say? You know, he is just one of those guys that knows how to make kids buy in, you know?
Yeah, it's a very fascinating thing. I'm just looking at a stat here. You won't believe this on Auburn's side of things. So Auburn's last 3 full-time head coaches have been at Arkansas State. Hugh Freeze 2011, Gus Malzahn 2012, and Brian Harsin was the head coach at Arkansas State in 2013.
I'm glad you brought up Malzahn. See, I think he could be a head coach again.
Oh, I think Gus Bus gets the opportunity.
For any of these, well, for some of these openings, he'd be one I'd look at to bring to my school.
I wouldn't be shocked if they don't hire him at Florida.
He came in, didn't he, from high school to go to Auburn, didn't he?
No, Gus Bus came in from high school. There's actually, this is funny that you mentioned that. On Amazon Prime Video, there's a documentary about Mitch Mustain. I don't know if you remember him or not, right?
Yes. Yeah.
He was the big dude that grew up right down the road in Fayetteville. And
yeah,
I think...
Well, he was a quarterback too, wasn't he?
Yes. Gus was his offensive coordinator in high school. Houston Nutt was the head coach at the time at Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they hired Malzahn as the OC. And I hate to get the story wrong, but something had happened between Houston Nutt and the university. They weren't getting along. And so they fired basically what happened was they messed Mitch Mustaine up. And it was the biggest recruit in Arkansas history. Well, Gus, some people in the coaching world don't like Gus for this. They thought he undermined Houston Nutt at the time. Well, Houston was still thinking 1980s. Gus Bus was an innovative new offensive mind coming in there. I think it's fascinating because they ended up getting rid of Houston Nutt. Gus coached, I think, the last couple of games, and it went really well, and they didn't hire him as the head coach. They hired Bobby Petrino.
Yeah.
And then I believe Gus went somewhere for a little bit, and then he ends up landing the Arkansas State job after Freeze vacates it and does really well, and that's how he ended up at Auburn.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Jim Knowles, now Penn State, right? Defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to go to a head coach if he's offered?
I think Oklahoma State would be dumb not to call him.
Yeah.
But you got to think, Jim's in his 60s. Does he want to be the head guy?
Right.
And it also is going to depend on what Oklahoma State's going to pay him. It depends on who Penn State hires. I think a dark horse to take the Penn State job would be Pat Fitzgerald.
That's interesting, yeah.
But here's my thing. Also, if I'm Florida, I hate to be this guy, but why is Cliff Kingsbury not on anyone's list?
Well, what's his background?
He was at Texas.
I don't know much about him.
He was Johnny Manziel's offensive coordinator at A&M.
Okay. Yeah, but that's only one thing. What else has he done?
He used to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, and were they good?
He had Kyler Murray, so he really didn't have much to work with.
Yeah.
So, and the Arizona Cardinals, quiet as kept, even though their business isn't out there much, they're very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
They have issues. They have a myriad of issues. I can't believe Larry Fitzgerald stayed there as long as he did, but I think Kingsbury should be on somebody's list. Very innovative offensive mind. He helped out with Lincoln Riley during Caleb Williams' Heisman Trophy year, I believe. And I think if Kingsbury gets offered it, I think he would go back to college. He's the Commanders' offensive coordinator. I mean, there's proof of concept there.
Well, why couldn't he go to Oklahoma State? That'd be a fit.
They could probably call him. I mean, he's young enough. I don't think he's over 45 yet.
Mm-hmm.
He was the next big thing in coaching. He went to Texas Tech pre NIL, and I don't think they were getting the old recruiting bump like some of the other schools in Texas, and I think he lost.
What about that guy that's been struggling through at Baylor? He was a hot commodity a few years ago.
Oh, Dave Aranda.
Yeah. What about him? Does he move?
Okay, here's the deal with Dave Aranda in Baylor. Baylor is it's cultish there.
Yeah.
Very cultish. And if I was Dave Aranda and I got a call to go back to LSU to be the defensive coordinator, if Jimbo called me, because I think either Auburn or LSU is going to hire Jimbo.
You think so? Oh boy.
Yeah, because
he's got a huge buyout, right? And so
Jimbo,
you think he would want to get back in?
Jimbo's guaranteed that money no matter what. Even if
I don't know. I don't think he's another one of those coaches like Brian Kelly. Like, he doesn't really seem to have a rapport with the players, and he's like a Nazi really when he's coaching these kids, just like Kelly was very hard on the people that played for him. You know,
I don't.
like he was. They always blame everybody else but themselves. You know, maybe it's a narcissism kind of thing.
Well,
But,
I think what happened was it went south at Florida State big time, and I don't know if the way it went south, I don't necessarily want to 100% say it was all on Jimbo at the Florida State stuff.
well, he started off when he took over for Bowden, Bobby. He wound up having some pretty strong teams to carry on his legacy. But I think that's his personality that began to, kind of be a cancer to a team. And then he ran for the money with Texas A&M, and it's like he blew them. He blew them up. Like they were getting recruits. They had all this money to throw around, and he didn't. He was disappointing. So I think it's him. I don't see a lot of teams jumping at the opportunity to have him come to their school. I don't believe in him nearly as much, Well, certainly Elko is probably going to be the coach of the year this year, but
you want a fascinating storyline?
yeah.
So as I'm looking at scores here for college basketball, Joe, Auburn is playing tonight, and it's halftime. They're playing Bethune-Cookman. What do you think the score of that game is right now?
Oh, I don't know. It should be a wipeout with Auburn crushing, right?
Bruce Pearl's son that they handed the job to. Right now, Bethune-Cookman 37, Auburn 38. You want to see some weird stuff happen on the Plains? They're not going to be happy if he loses that game.
Yeah. Well, did they lose a lot? Because they had like one of the best teams in the country last year, didn't they?
I think.
Did they lose a lot? Lose a lot of players or something?
They retained I think pretty much all their roster, because I think that's why Bruce decided to step down when he did, right before fall camp opened up.
Bruce Pearl, wasn't he on Michigan State head coach for a while?
No, Bruce Pearl was at Tennessee. And then he got caught cheating at Tennessee. Which, technically, now that we have NIL, it's not cheating, but it's pretty fascinating. Also, did you see Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee's old head coach, got reinstated?
To where? Tennessee?
No, he was Tennessee's head coach. He was the McDonald's bag of money guy.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Uh-huh.
So he decided to file a lawsuit to get back into coaching. Very particular that as soon as that lawsuit gets filed, a couple months go by and the NCAA says, no harm, no foul, we'll put you back to work. We'll let you come back. Here's where I'm at on that. Letting Pruitt back in is a blatant show of, we don't want to have a lawsuit because we don't know what this guy knows.
Right.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to with Brian Kelly as well.
Yeah, I think the NCAA, their only good value is their logistics. Like they do the background paperwork to make every college team accountable and understanding. Like they'll take the schedules and things like that. I think that's their only useful purpose. Like they're good at having people conform to the rules to make it fair to every team. You know what I mean? Like they don't have power in so much as being able to fine people. Like they'll do it at the stupid times now. Like to hang on to their jobs, it's like they're doing the minimal they can without making themselves the point of attention,
Well,
but in terms of making all these other colleges that are on the periphery as well as the big ones, like they have to file their schedules and things through them. And so they're good about that, I think. And then keeping contact with the bowls, I think that's a big purpose for them. But I don't see them being any kind of a authority on in,
Rule
implementing
enforcement.
rules. Yes.
I
Yeah.
think at this point, I think the NCAA is pretty much toothless.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
it'll be fascinating on how this whole thing shakes out. But I guess we'll see. But I'm not holding my breath. I think it'll be fascinating if Brian Kelly files a lawsuit when LSU tries to stiff him.
You think that'll happen? I don't think so. I think that they're just going to pay him. I don't think they're going to have too much of a.
I think that the people at LSU do not want to enter a legal battle just for the
Right.
simple fact of entering a legal battle with Brian Kelly. He has no allegiance to LSU whatsoever. So if you don't want to pay him his money, he's probably going to tell on you if you were doing something you weren't supposed to.
Well, the thing is, too, it's going to reflect on the program itself for future coaches. If you're going to not want to pay a guy that you come into contract with, and here's the buyout, here's what it is. If they say no to that, we're going to contest it. They better have a damn good reason why. Otherwise, no coach is going to want to go there if they don't live up to their agreement.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at on it. And I also think that sometimes some of these universities want to bury their heads in the sand about how business is really done. And I think a lot of people around programs know where a lot of things that have happened and
buried bodies.
Yeah, where the bodies are at. Because I'm sure Brian Kelly's
well, not only that, Gook, but just think about, universities, they're academia. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Academia?
Well, sort of, but because they're not business people, like they're more institutions of higher knowledge, like they're being forced to learn the business side of America. Yeah.
Well, I think that it's funny that you have professional agents that represent coaches and they go in there with an athletic director and they let the AD and the school attorneys negotiate the contracts.
Well, now we're starting to see more GMs, with a business background that handle that stuff. But I see what you're saying.
I'm talking about not the players so much, but strictly coaches. But I've also heard some wild things about these so-called agents, the street agents, as some people would call them, or somebody's uncle, and
right.
They are asking for some just bizarre things. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's like Hollywood now.
It's just. Here's my thing. If you want to do the NIL thing, at least make them get a registered agent.
Right.
Not Billy Bob, somebody's cousin that says,
right.
Yeah, well, we need this much money. We need a house. We need a couple of cars. We need this. We need that. And it's just like, where does it stop?
Yeah, this kid's 18 years old out of high school. What are you talking about?
Well, that was some of the alleged things that was going on with the Nico thing. They said they wanted another house.
Yeah.
And one of their recruits.
No, I'm in agreement with you, but it's like, like they keep asking for things Hollywood, at the food spread before the game, you're going to have caviar kind of thing,
There's a recruit in the SEC that his recruitment hinged on if his parents could have a luxury box for free.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do you know how many people
and it's a recruit.
You know how many people that are high prominent boosters that don't have a box that have waited for years and years to try to get one?
Right.
And
now some 17-year-old that turns 18 in August is saying he wants his parents to have a box. Yeah, I get it.
That has not played one down of football.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know, Duke. I mean, we can get into philosophy of what's been happening here in college football, but I'm not pleased. I don't like the direction I'm seeing in so many fronts, in so many fronts.
Well, I think some of it's going to start to get better with the transfer portal being only 14 days instead of 30. It's going to force guys to make decisions that it's like, do I really want to go to a university that, for all intents and purposes, I've never even been there or seen
I think
it?
it's got to be harder than that. 14 days, so what? I think it's got to be you get one transfer. That's it, to play a sport. You can transfer as much as you want, but you can't play football.
Well,
but here's what we give. Here's what we give you. You have one. Yeah.
Sorry for cutting you off, but this is my thing with the transfer portal. You get one transfer.
Right.
You get another transfer if, let's say, you're Jackson Arnold. You came to Auburn to play for Hugh Freeze, right?
Right.
And you were going to end your career at Auburn, and you signed up to play for Hugh Freeze. Well, as we sit November 3rd, Hugh Freeze is no longer the coach. And
right.
I think this is where some of the stuff is going to blow up in a lot of these teams' faces, because the kids now, if they signed up to play for Hugh Freeze, like Deuce Knight, he committed to Auburn. He signed up to play for Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, but you know what, Duke? A kid can sign up because they want to play for Hugh Freeze, and then they play a year and they sit the bench and they say, you know what? I don't want to play for him. He's not playing me, so I want to get out. So why should they get the advantage of, having an extra transfer portal to use if they decide to leave after they wanted to play for this guy and he's still there, but they're not happy with their playing time, so they get to leave anyway.
Well, I'm saying
they're both ways. They're getting both ways if that's the case. And I don't think it should be.
The problem you have is let's say, and the reason why I say if it's Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold transferred there, so he burnt one. Now that they've fired Hugh Freeze, if he wants to leave, he should be able to go, because the new coach could be bringing a starting quarterback with him. Let's just say it's let's just say Auburn. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's say they hire Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly says, I don't want Jackson Arnold. I'm going to bring in my own guy.
Which he probably would do.
Which he would do, because that's just how he operates. Or it could be, let's say,
he'll take a 3-star and he'll say, I want him to be here for the next 4 years. I'll develop him.
Yes.
And
or
he doesn't,
we
because
could
the
use
guy's not good enough.
We could use Penn State for this. The Grunkemeyer kid from Ohio's playing. He was recruited. I think he's a sophomore, but he was going to be Drew Auer's backup. Now he's the starting quarterback. He signed up to play for James Franklin. Well, let's say Oklahoma State, or not Oklahoma State, but let's just say Penn State hires Mike Gundy, and Mike Gundy says, I'm going to start bringing my Oklahoma State kids up here. I'm not going to play you, so you need to leave. That's why I'm going to get a transfer. That's quarterback for this year. Yeah, that's why I'm saying if the current head coach gets fired, regardless if they've transferred before, they should be able to have an out, because it would be like when who was it? Not Drew Pine, but Tyler Buckner. When Marcus Freeman took over, was basically like, you're not going to be the guy. So he left with Tommy Reese when Brian Kelly left.
Yeah. Right.
That's my only thing. I think that if the kids signed up to play for somebody that they transferred there for, and he gets fired, they should have the option to stay, but if they want to go, they should be able to go, to at least follow their coach. Kind of like the Marshall Southern Miss thing with Charles Huff, and it's crazy because he's not on anybody's list that I've seen either, and he's doing an outstanding job. They were the worst team in the Sun Belt last year, and they could possibly win the whole kit and caboodle down there at Hattiesburg.
Yeah, I disagree with it. I think if you're going to make a rule, it should be one-time transfer. It doesn't matter the situation of the player-coach relationship. The player coach, decision to go and come. I mean, those are all going to happen anyway. So, if you want to really maintain or get away from the chaos you're currently in, then you make it a one-time deal. You can transfer one time. Now, if you don't want to play the sport anymore, then transfer all you want to all these other schools you want to go to. But they got to get a commitment from every school, from every kid, because otherwise these kids are going to do whatever they want, like they're doing.
Well,
and you got to stop it. It's got to be stopped because it doesn't help the culture. There's just so many things you can go down the list of, getting used to how about, you have one or two offensive linemen come in through this. That takes a long time to develop a starting unit, an offensive line. You know what I mean?
Well,
like there's just too many options available to kids, and the schools just have to suffer and deal with it. I don't like it.
Here's where I think we have a difference of opinion. Before the transfer portal, when Hugh Freeze got fired in the summer, Shea Patterson went to Michigan because he left because I don't think he necessarily wanted to play for Matt Luke, and he was trying to play in the NFL. They lost some kids because Hugh Freeze got fired, and the players were mad because if you only give them a one-time transfer and you transfer there like Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma, they hire a coach that's not going to play you, your career's over, is what I'm saying.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, maybe you're just not good enough, and maybe you didn't work hard enough. I mean, these kids right now can just keep on flip-flopping going. I mean, look at Dante Moore. How many teams did he play for?
Well, here's a good example. When Notre Dame got Riley Leonard, when Mike Elko left, and Elko pretty much wasn't taking him to A&M, so Riley Leonard should have had to stay at Duke.
Yes, a one-time transfer, and if that is only one time, then he could have done it. But I think that is his only time. Well, so that example doesn't really work. It's got to be a guy like Dante Moore that you're going to have to try and stick up for.
Well, okay.
And to me,
it worked out well for Dylan Gabriel. He's a starting NFL quarterback. He started at UCF. COVID happened. Josh Heupel left. He goes to Oklahoma. Oklahoma tells him, we're going to play Jackson Arnold. He goes to Oregon, won a lot of football games.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's going to have to make kids think a lot more about what the decision is. You get one time to do it. That's my thing. I think the kids have too many options. They win on both ends if they do it your way.
Well, I don't think they win on both ends because here's my whole point that I'm going back to. They don't win on both ends because let's say Hugh Freeze didn't. Let's say it's a different year and they end up going like 9-3 and Jackson Arnold gets pulled. Well, he transferred from Oklahoma, so he's done.
Right.
If Hugh Freeze remains the head coach. Now, as a conscience, if you're a parent or a player, you have to ask the coach now, if you have a one-time transfer, are you going to get fired and I'm stuck at this university that I'm likely...
And no one knows. No one will know that.
But, I mean you could take it to...
Who expected all these mid-season firings this year? It's like, you take your chances. Here's what you're going to sign up for. If you come to our university, you get the best chance to be the best player you can be. We'll do our best to develop you. And if our coach leaves, you can leave, but that's going to be your only chance to leave. So you better pick a good school that you think and a coach that's going to develop you and give you a shot at starting. That's all it is. No. I mean, that's my stance on it. I'll never change it because it's too much out of control now where the kids have calling all the shots. And when they first started talking about paying kids, I was all for it because they're devoting a lot of time and their stuff, their bodies, they could get hurt for life, so I wanted kids to get paid. But now I think that they have so much power over the universities
Well,
that, it's just, to me, it's like, you know what? You
here's
get one time. Here's it is. We're
here's
going to do our best. If it doesn't work out for you, go to one other place, and that's it.
right.
If you can't cut it at another place, that's on you.
Now, the one thing that I'll not really push back, but I'll say this much. When Rich Rodriguez left West Virginia, the majority of those kids stayed and his guys cycled out. But if you're Michigan that hired Rich Rodriguez that completely retooled the roster and changed the offense, Rich Rod didn't have, for all intents and purposes, he had no use for tight ends and fullbacks in his offense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm saying that I think that if the coach leaves at the university that you're at, you should have the option to at least follow the coach. And I think now this is where the Big Ten, and people will disagree, this is where the Big Ten had an advantage over the SEC when they had the 2 transfer portal windows, because when you transferred in the winter window opposed to the spring window, you couldn't go to another SEC school. So
yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's another thing where it has to be uniform throughout 160 teams.
Oh yeah,
or universities. Yeah.
You know how bad some teams would be hurting if you had to go down a level. But I look at the transfer portal. Look at Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, comes up from Division II and is in the Heisman race.
Yeah, Mendoza was he at Cal?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, there's, I don't know, dude. I think we're gonna pretty much disagree on that one.
Well,
I just feel that kids have too much power, and they're only kids, and they don't know what's what yet. So
yeah.
don't give them unlimited power.
I'm not,
because they're going to take advantage of it.
I'm not. And this is the last thing, and then we'll get you out of here, Joe.
Yeah.
The big thing is, in my opinion, I'm not for the 4 schools in 4 years. I'm for a one-time transfer, and then if your coach leaves or gets fired, it should open it up to where if they bring somebody in, like let's say,
what if that happens? What if that happens in 3 different schools where a coach gets fired or he decides to leave? Like, what happens if can that kid be allowed to follow him 3 different schools?
I would hate to say if it's something like a Signetti situation, then I mean, the kids don't do anything wrong. And if the coach signs off to take him, I don't see a problem with it. But I also think that they should have a meeting with the incoming coach. But also, I don't think universities should be firing coaches when they don't know who's going to be walking through the door. I think Penn State whenever everybody said that the Nico thing was monumental when he transferred.
Yeah.
I think that in Tennessee told him to go pound rocks, and he's at UCLA now, whether that works out for him or not. But I think Penn State did the same exact thing by putting James Franklin in the transfer portal, and they kicked off the biggest coaching carousel that we've probably seen in 100 years of college football.
Okay.
So I think it was no secret coming into this year with the guys that got fired, Billy Napier, Hugh Freeze, and the guys that got let go. If you would have told me James Franklin would have got fired mid-season, I would say, well, it had to have went catastrophically wrong. But that's where I'm at on it.
And it did.
It did go bad. His starting quarterback got hurt. But anyway, Joe, we're over 2 hours. I will let you enjoy the rest. I'll let you enjoy the rest.
You know what, Duke?
What's that?
You know what, Duke? I have a suggestion for you. You should upload these episodes because I don't think you get enough of a chance in having a 1 hour in a day, and then not have that be seen by people that are just hungry for football talk. And I think if you uploaded a lot of these episodes that you have, I don't think, is there a cost to that for you to do that, or
To upload them where?
onto the YouTube?
Oh, they're on YouTube.
So you get the replays? You have replays of the shows you do?
Oh yeah, I have replays.
Oh, I never see them.
Um,
Because I was thinking that might help you to get more viewers if you were to have that available for people that are just looking to hear about, for example, Notre Dame, or you talk about everything. I like that you're able to bounce around sports, with the general knowledge, and I think that might be attractive to people. But for some reason, I've never seen your shows,
you gotta whenever
past shows.
whenever you're looking at it, you have to. I don't know if you watch on TV or on your phone, but when
I watch it on my laptop, actually, YouTube.
you know where it has our emblem logo on the YouTube's when you're watching on YouTube, if you click that emblem logo, it'll take you to our homepage of our YouTube channel.
Okay. Is that the one in the top right?
Yeah. Or it's at the bottom where the like button's at. Let me see. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, because I have you. I'm subscribed for everything, but I never seem to run across your shows that you've played in the past.
But if you get to if you click on our photo that's on there when you're looking at it on your YouTube screen.
I'm looking at the screen right now. I'm seeing you, and I'm seeing your name on the bottom left, and I'm seeing your banner running across, like and subscribe. And then I see the show with Carter Smith on the top right.
Okay, I'm pulling up YouTube right now. Pulling it up right now. So if you're watching a show, let me click on it so we're looking at the same thing.
Unless you mean the red button at the top, maybe?
No, if we're looking at this the same as we're looking at this on the YouTube channel, if you go down to where it has our total number of subscribers in our picture,
okay.
If you click on that picture, it takes you to the home page, and then you'll click the live tab. There's a tab that says live, and because it'll say home video.
So that's a little bit too. That's a little bit too many things that you can only do once you're watching this live as we're talking. See, if these can automatically go up there without me having to go to your homepage, if you can upload them so that people can kind of, go to the right, that bar on the right for YouTube that you can tap down and see all the different things that they think you're interested in.
Oh yeah, that's my videos get suggested a lot. Like the Tennessee live stream that we did on Saturday, that one did over 6,000 views. So
beautiful.
So
well, the only thing is you get that, but they clicked on it because you were live. Like they're not clicking on it by going to your homepage and then clicking on that button to get to your homepage to see things. Like I think if that's automatically part of the repertoire of people that watch the show, they can, like I said, that on the far right, you click down to see all the.
I'm in the recommended videos because, like, whenever I look at like my analytics for my YouTube page, I pop up 92% of my views that I get. I pop up on the homepage for people. So,
okay. Well, for some reason, it's not showing me your previous episodes, like on my list of the things that I look at on the far right. It gives you a whole bunch of shows that you might be interested in.
Oh yeah.
And I never catch your shows of previous, episodes.
See, on the YouTube side of it, Joe, I'll give you a little hint on it. If you're watching a current person's channel, they try to give you people that are similar channels. That is
Right.
the suggested video column. It's not a playlist of like our stuff.
Right.
So they
But
try to
that's where I find, for example, Voice of College Football. He for some reason he comes up a lot on mine for every little thing he does, whether it's a 10-minute diatribe or a 30-minute or an hour. His are always popping up for me. And I watch you, like I click on you whenever I see that you're on live. That's the only time it shows me that you have episodes.
Do you know what
a live one?
Real quick, I'll explain this to you, and then I got to roll.
Okay.
The reason for that is that he has 40 some odd thousand subscribers. He's way higher in the algorithm than I am.
Okay.
It's all algorithm based, but that's how that works. But anyway, Joe.
Well, that's why I was suggesting, that, maybe you can put some of those up so that the algorithm, but now it explains it is that you're not as high on subscribers, so they don't choose to put you up on that.
Yep. That's
on the likes. Well, that's why we got to get your likes up, Duke. Somehow we got to get subscribers up and likes.
Oh yeah. I appreciate you, Joe. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Yep. Bye. All right, that was Joe, ladies and gentlemen. We had a lengthy conversation, and I am currently behind. But if you've made it to the end of the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. I have got to run, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.